Have you ever opened your door at midnight to a terrified child whose eyes begged for mercy no kid should ever need? What if the person terrorizing your peaceful suburb wasn't the drunk dad down the block, but the smiling HOA president who decided your kindness was the real violation? And what if standing up for that one scared boy ended up exposing the power-hungry fraud running the entire neighborhood with her ridiculous rules? It was supposed to be just another ordinary night in Pinewood Grove Estates. You know the type of place. Pristine lawns that could pass military inspection, houses painted in approved beige tones only, and an HOA board that treated every blade of grass like national security. I, Sarah Thompson, had already learned my lesson the hard way. 6 months earlier, Patty Reynolds, our beloved president, or as everyone secretly called her, Karen Supreme, had dragged me before the board for my tacky garden gnomes. "They lower property values, Sarah dear," she'd said with that fake sweet smile while fining me $300. I'd swallowed my pride, removed them, and kept my mouth shut. In this neighborhood, silence was golden. Until it wasn't. The knocking started at 11:47 p.m. Sharp, desperate, stood Tyler Jenkins, 12 years old, shivering in nothing but pajamas, a nasty bruise swelling on his cheek. "Miss Sarah," he whispered, voice trembling. "Dad's drunk again." I didn't know where else to go. I knew the Jenkins family vaguely, polite nods at the mailbox, nothing more. His father was a former construction worker who'd hit the bottle hard after losing his job. That night I saw the fear in Tyler's eyes and couldn't turn him away. I pulled him inside, wrapped him in my softest blanket, and made hot cocoa he barely touched. As he sat at my kitchen table staring at nothing, it hit me. The people we wave to every day can be carrying hell inside their homes. The next morning I walked Tyler back. His father answered the door reeking of whiskey. "Stay the hell out of my business, lady," he growled, yanking the boy inside so roughly I heard Tyler gasp. The door slammed. Walk away like a good neighbor? Or fight for a kid who couldn't fight for himself? I chose to fight. I made anonymous calls to Child Protective Services. I documented everything Tyler told me. But the system is slow, and Tyler started slipping over more often when things got bad. That's when Patty's radar picked it up. It began with a certified letter shoved in my mailbox. "Dear MS, in violation of Covenant Section 7.3, unauthorized occupants and transient guests. Hosting a minor not on your deed without board approval disrupts community harmony. Fine $500. Or face escalating penalties and possible lien on your property." I stared at the paper and actually laughed out loud. That bitter "are you kidding me" laugh. Here was a child escaping fists, and this woman was worried about harmony. I called her office. Best concerned citizen voice. "Sarah, honey, we care about children too. Deeply. Cheers. If we allow just anyone to take in strays, think of the precedent. Property values would tank." "Strays? Patty, this boy is being beaten. Have you even looked into his home?" "Oh, we don't interfere in private family matters. That's for the professionals. Please comply, dear. We wouldn't want this to affect your standing in the community." Standing. Threat. And it was. The Facebook group exploded with her subtle posts. Some residents are introducing concerning elements that could impact our children's safety and our home values. We must remain vigilant about standards. Neighbors I'd barbecued with started avoiding eye contact. My mailbox filled with more violation notices for excessive pedestrian traffic and unapproved minor activity. I stayed silent on the surface, but I watched. I recorded her condescending voicemails. I noted how she ignored her own violations, that massive unpermitted shed in her backyard, and the political signs that exceeded size limits. Darkly funny, wasn't it? The queen of rules breaking them herself while punishing me for saving a kid. But I bided my time, helping Tyler with homework in secret, getting him to talk to a school counselor friend of mine. The fines piled up to over $2,000. My savings drained. Satisfied. Someone even spray-painted troublemaker on my garage door one night. I knew who was behind the whispers. Yet something was shifting. Noticed the bruises and started documenting. A local pastor offered his voice. Piece by piece, a case built strong enough that the system couldn't ignore it. Little did Patty know her obsession with control was about to backfire spectacularly. The board meeting was where it all exploded. Karen had called an emergency session to address the ongoing disruption to neighborhood standards. Translation: she wanted the board to vote on a massive fine and possible lien on my house. The community center was packed, everyone in their Sunday best, whispering about the troublemaker who dared challenge the queen. Patty stood at the podium in her power suit, voice dripping with fake concern. Friends, we all want a safe, beautiful community. But when individuals flout the rules, bringing in outsiders and spreading damaging rumors, it affects us all. Property values are down 2% this quarter because of this drama. The crowd murmured. Some nodded. Heart-pounding but calm. I've been waiting for this. She went on for 20 minutes about standards and decency, never once mentioning Tyler's name or the police reports I'd quietly shared with a few key people. When it was my turn for public comment, the room went silent. I stood up slowly. Rules. But last month when I reported suspected child abuse at 142 Oak Lane, you told the board it was a family matter, and to drop it. You said it would hurt our image. I have the minutes right here. Missing 3 separate complaints from neighbors about the yelling and bruises. I played the first clip on my phone through the speakers. Patty's voice crystal clear. We don't get involved in domestic issues. Focus on the lawns, people. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Tyler's teacher stood up next, holding photos of the bruises documented over months. This isn't about flowers or fences, she said. This is about a boy who was terrified to go home. Then the pastor from down the street spoke. I've counseled that family. But Patty here assured me the HOA would handle it internally to avoid scandal. Meanwhile, that child was suffering. The room turned. A shift from gossip to genuine outrage. Patty's face went from smug to panicked. She tried to recover with her classic line. This is all a misunderstanding. We're just trying to maintain order. But her voice cracked. The dark humor of it hit me then. This woman who fined people for holiday lights being up too long had been covering for a monster because it was more convenient than doing the right thing. More people spoke. Pattern. Ignoring real problems if the offender paid their dues on time or played golf with her husband. Social services showed up the next day with police. Tyler's dad was arrested after a full investigation. The boy clung to me like a lifeline as they took him to a safe foster home. For the first time, there was real hope in his eyes instead of fear. Patty tried one last desperate move. She spread more rumors, called emergency meetings, even threatened lawsuits. But it was too late. In our little community, the board voted her out unanimously 2 weeks later. She moved out of Pinewood Grove 3 months after that, selling her house at a loss. Last I heard, she was advising some other HOA somewhere, probably still lecturing about petunias. Tyler thrived in foster care. Safe. He started smiling again. Playing soccer. Looking over his shoulder. I stayed in touch, helping however I could. Years flew by. I'd spot Tyler occasionally at the park or library, growing taller, stronger, carrying scars but also a quiet strength that made me proud. Then, shortly after his 18th birthday, the knock came again. This time it was confident. All gift-wrapped box. Miss Sarah, he said softly, I wanted you to have this. Inside was a framed photo from his high school graduation. Him in cap and gown, smiling wide. On the back he'd written, You were the first person who believed I was worth saving. Thank you for not following the rules. I cried right there on the porch. That one midnight decision, to open the door, to fight the Karen, to refuse silence, had lit a spark that pulled him out of hell. In a neighborhood ruled by power-hungry Karens hiding behind rules, true justice comes when we stop fearing the fines and start protecting the vulnerable. One patient stand can topple tyrants and save lives. Choose courage over compliance always.